As a writer, you are actually an artist because writing is an art. There is a writing maxim that really holds true. You want to engage your readers. Show, don't tell. Now you can say he was really frustrated and he slammed his fist down on the table, got up really quick, stomped off. Or you could say so-and-so was listening to what the other person was saying, thinking about it, realizing how they weren't understanding and weren't listening and hadn't paid attention to anything that he said. Slamming his fist, hands on the table, he stood up abruptly, glared at them, stomped off, not wishing to continue that conversation. Now both say the person was frustrated, but in one, you've told the person how they're supposed to feel about it. In the other, you've created a sense of the frustration. You've demonstrated. You've got your reader to actually experience that person's frustration. You're painting a picture with words. One of the manuscripts that I'm working on that has taken me a while, because I kind of debated if I wanted to do it at all, and if I did, how I wanted to do it. I used to be a professional wrestler, not on the big network shows, but on what was known as the independent circuit. And way back when I wrote my Roadhouse Sons series, I had originally wanted to make them professional wrestlers, especially independent wrestlers, because we don't have the big promotions behind us. We didn't have any safety nets. We had to get ourselves from one show to the next. We had to decide what we were going to do if it was a lousy turnout and nobody was getting paid. How are we getting home? Car breaks down. How are we getting it fixed? The ring truck breaks down. What are we going to do? The promoter skips out with the money. What happens now? You had to learn how to think on your feet. I thought that would be great as a spy. But in wrestling, we have a lot of our secrets. How we do things, how we communicate with each other, how we think, how we look, how we feel about stuff. And I didn't want to give those secrets away. So I created the Roadhouse Sons. A cover band. Doesn't have a big label, has to go through a lot of the same things. Perfect. I was at the Gulf Coast Wrestlers Reunion down in Mobile, Alabama, and I was talking with a good friend of mine, God rest his soul, Don Fargo. Don Fargo, if you knew him, he looked like the meanest refugee from a biker bar you could ever find. Swastika tattoos all over him, even on his face and his hands. Teardrops coming out of his eyes, which have rather serious implications and meanings. Confederate flags, Viking runes, all this stuff. He was probably the nicest fellow you could ever meet. He would literally give you the shirt off his back if he thought it would help you. Well, I was talking with him and I told him about writing a book, which another thing about Don Fargo is he never went to school. He grew up in Hell's Kitchen in New York, way back, and his father didn't think you needed an education, you just needed to learn how to work hard. So he put him to work at a young age and he never went to school. He never even learned how to write his name. And believe it or not, he was not taken advantage of because he had some really good partners that were with him, that wrestled with him and looked after him. But anyhow, I was telling him about the book that I was writing and how I had wanted to make it about wrestlers, but now I was making it about a cover band. And I thought he would appreciate that because Don Fargo was very old school and you did not reveal things. Nobody got a look behind the locker room door. So you can imagine my surprise when he gets this really sad look on his face and he shakes his head. He said, "You should have written it, brother. You should have written it." I says, "But Don, how can I write something like that without kind of giving them a look into our whole world?" He said, "You write the story the way you would have told it in the ring. You're already a storyteller. You're already an artist. On canvas, on a ring canvas, or on a page. If you're going to tell a story, you're going to be an artist. Remember that with your writing."